All right, friends, we are live. It's 7:02. I think I'm waiting for my friend Kristen to enter the chat today, but we are live as far as our tonight's evening Canvas tips for parents and guardians tonight. So the timer went off, but if you see in front of you, you should see an address bit.ly /4-23-2020. If you could just take a moment, that's a link that if you want to take a moment and go ahead and enter in some information, it's basically a Google form that allows you to kind of ask some questions of our panel and of myself, and then we're going to take our time, or we'll do our best tonight to make sure that we respond to everybody's questions tonight. And that's what our goal is. So if you see the chat, if you see those questions, you'll see a survey. You can ask one question, you can ask three. There's enough room in there for ask three. You can come back and ask some more. But our goal tonight will be to do a few things. One, if you're in the webinar tonight, you should see the chat. I would love for you to go ahead and ask some questions as we're progressing through for the evening. You can also go ahead and go onto that address right there. It's a Google form. You don't have to sign in. And then finally, if you're on Facebook tonight, we have an audience where we could go ahead and help you respond in the Facebook. But we'll do our best to answer as many questions as we can tonight. So with that being said, I think my friend Kristen should be in, so we should be good to go. And we're gonna get started tonight. So again, welcome to Canvas Tips for Parents and Guardians. This is our second time doing this. We started earlier today. We did a 2 o'clock session today, and we had quite a few people who came and hung out with us for it ended up being 45 minutes, which was awesome. So tonight I'll try to keep to the script so that we won't take you or keep you as long as tonight. If you've never met me before, my name is Chris Giles, and I work for the Beaverton School District. I don't work for Canvas. I've been a classroom teacher for 17 years, 2 of those years living in Brazil, so I am a teacher. And then on board tonight, we have my friends Kristen, Jen, Nicole, Carolina, Kara, Christina, Paul, and then my friend Rebecca is on there as well tonight. So if you have any questions tonight, you can throw them in the chat, and our friends will do the best to respond, and then they will also stop and interrupt me when there's a question they really want us to answer verbally to everyone tonight. For best experience tonight, or for a better experience, headphones, obviously, so you can, hear what's going on, and then you'll see the chat, and that's where you can go ahead and respond. And we're using a platform called Zoom Webinar, which puts everyone in listening mode so that no one has to deal with everybody else's microphones. So that's why you may not hear me or see anybody tonight except for myself. So with that being said, tonight our session is going to do a brief overview of what Canvas is. We'll talk about, you can probably hear me say talk about. We'll talk about basically your Canvas account. We'll talk about navigating Canvas, managing students. You can see settings, notifications, and communication, and supporting your student or students. And then if we can do so, hopefully we'll be able to do a live demo as far as what parents should be able to see when they log in to their accounts. So a couple questions that we've been asked quite often. My friend Paul and I, we've stood in front of 500 parents in the past 4 years. We've been doing Canvas parent nights quite often. And of course, the big question is always, well, what is Canvas? And how do you describe Canvas to someone who's never actually seen it or heard of it? And if you're as old as I am, you went to school with a backpack and you had you had books and you had pencils and maybe a calculator in there. And that was what we went to school with. Well, today, our students still come to school with a backpack, but in that backpack is a little bit different items. And one of the biggest items that our students carry now in those backpacks is a Chromebook. And so the best way I think of Canvas is essentially it's your digital backpack. It exists on a student Chromebook. The students can work on a Chromebook. They can complete their tasks on a Chromebook. But if by chance something happens, they spill water on it or they lose their Chromebook for the day, they just need to log back into some other device and they can continue. So it's a digital backpack, meaning you probably won't lose anything. You certainly won't spill any water on it, and it'll actually still be able to be usable throughout. So we had backpacks when we went to school. Our students probably have the same type of backpacks, but now what's in there is much different. So consider Canvas like a digital backpack. And then the question that we quite often usually get is, well, why Canvas? Well, a couple of reasons. One, obviously, the biggest reason why we're using Canvas is because we want to prepare our students for future learning beyond high school, whether they choose to do a technical school or university. So for example, University of Oregon, Oregon University, Michigan, Stanford, Princeton, Harvard, a lot of these schools use Canvas as their learning management system. It's the one place where all of those students go to access their learning, access their assignments, and go ahead and get feedback from professors. You could consider Canvas like your digital glue. That's what my boss Pep calls it. It's the digital glue. It's the one thing that you can effectively do many, many other things inside of Canvas. And so the picture you see in front of you are all the digital tools that our students are using. Zoom, Newsela, WeVideo, Google Suite, Turnitin, and all of those things are made possible by using Canvas. And the reason why it's such an important element is we don't have to have multiple accounts, multiple logins for all these applications. Students don't have to log into Adobe Spark and Zoom and Formative with all these different applications and different accounts. You can effectively use all of those in Canvas, one account, to basically use them all. And of course, that makes learning much easier on the parent, on the student, as well as on the teacher. And I know we've got a lot of chats going on, and so our friends are answering the quick chat, and friends on the line there, if you want me to stop and respond, you just let me know. So the big thing is that the student's experience is changing. Like, that's the big thing. How you and I went to school when we were younger, students' experience is changing today. And now Canvas is basically that online space where teachers, many teachers, can use it as an extension to the classroom. The reality is that today we're living in a completely different time and space and element as far as education and how our students are being schooled effectively. And this is where Canvas becomes this super powerful tool, because the reality is that even if we were in the physical classroom today and your child was sick, they could still access their work from home. Or if you were going away for a few days, your child could still access that work through Canvas, because that's what Canvas can do. It tells your students what's due, when things are due, how do you find them, how did I do for feedback, and how do I get help. And the other thing too about Canvas is we're trying to reduce the amount of places that students have to go to. It's okay that a student goes and watches a YouTube video or reads an article. That's totally fine. That's part of the learning process. But we don't want to have to give them different accounts, different websites, and then clutter up their computer. With Canvas, you can basically give your students all of that experience in one place. Okay? So with that being said, it does bring us up to this big question, which is, well, Chris, what's the difference between Canvas and Parent View? And so I'm going to go ahead and just spend a second talking about that, because these are two really important systems that we have here in Beaverton School District. Parent View has been around for quite a lot longer than Canvas. So it's already built, it's part of our culture. It's part of our learning platform. It's part of what's happening in school as far as how parents, students, and teachers know how students are doing. Canvas came afterwards. But both systems are very, very powerful, and both systems are needed. And both systems are also independent, but also are somewhat interdependent upon themselves. So one of the things you can see in front of you is the big difference is this. Parent View is basically our student information system. It's the one place where we keep health records, attendance, and other permanent records, as well as permanent grades or final grades or GPAs. The state of Oregon requires every school to have some type of system, student information system, and so Synergy or Parent View is that system for us. Now, Canvas is what's considered a learning platform. So Synergy holds the grades, it does the attendance, it holds vital records that we need for students to have knowledge of, or we need to have our nurses and doctor, no. Anyways, vital records. But Canvas is this everyday, this learning platform. So when your students go to school each day and you ask them, what'd you do? Well, if your teachers are using Canvas, the reality is they could put content in Canvas and you can know exactly what's happening in the day-to-day of a child. And then, yes, you do need a separate account for both. And the reason why is because everything kind of rolls around as far as Parent View. We need to make sure that you as a parent, when you set up for Parent View, you have the legal guaranteeing rights to go ahead and view that child's educational information. Well, Canvas is built based off of that. So if any parent has an active Parent View account, then a Canvas account has already been created for you. You just need to go ahead and verify. And in a few minutes, I'll show all of us how to do that, how to verify your Canvas account. But the big difference is, yes, there are two different systems. They both are super important. They're independent, but they're also both needed. You can't have a Canvas account as a parent unless you have an active Parent View account. And then finally, the big difference between Synergy or Parent View and Canvas is, again, permanent records in Parent View, but Canvas is the day-to-day, provides scores, feedbacks, allows for communication, and it's that daily work all in one place. And then this kind of brings us back to this big question. Well, why do I need a Canvas account? I'm a brand new 6th grade parent. My child just got to 6th grade this year, or I just moved to the district. What's the big deal about Canvas? Well, if you think about it, when your child comes home at the end of the day and you want to ask them, hey, how are you doing? How are things going? You could go into Synergy, into Parent View, and see that information. It may not be as up to date. If you go into Canvas, more than likely you're going to see what's happening in that classroom. So you're going to see due dates. You're going to see when things are due, what's due, and you're also going to be easily able to find that information. And what you see in front of you is what's considered a Canvas calendar. And in a few minutes, we'll go ahead and talk about that. What's so funny is that I'm sitting in my bedroom, and I don't know where any of you are. And so I'm giving a webinar from my bedroom. I'm roasting. I'm wearing a sweater, so I had open my window. So anyways, benefits, what's due, when it's due, and how do I find it? That's one of the benefits to not only parents, but also obviously to students. Other benefits are seeing assignments, scores, and feedback. If your child is going to school each day, or even at home, and the question is, well, what am I doing today? Canvas is that one place where the child can go and look and see what's going on, what's due, and what are some things that they can work on. So again, another benefit to Canvas is knowing what's happening, seeing those scores and those feedback from the teacher. And finally, the big one that we'll talk about as well is communication and notifications. I'm sure many of you, I shouldn't say many of you, I'm sure some of you have probably received a lot of emails over the past 2 weeks. Some of those emails are generated from Seesaw because that's what we're using in K-5. Some of that email is generated through Canvas because a lot of teachers are really now coming back and going, okay, I should probably start using Canvas. And so you might be noticing an increase in your email traffic. So we'll talk about how to kind of take care of that. Those are called notifications. We'll talk about those in a few minutes, and we'll talk about how we can also communicate with teachers as well. So as far as Canvas is concerned and supporting your child, you as a parent or a guardian do not have to have a Canvas account to support your child. If you are happy with going to Parent View, if you have a good relationship with your child where you can look over their shoulder and you can communicate with them, then you don't have to have a Canvas account. There's nobody telling you, we're not making you, we're just telling you that we've created an account so that if you do want to go ahead and actually log in yourself, see what's going on, communicate with the teacher, then you can. So basically there's 2 ways that I know of that you can support your child as far as through Canvas. And one is obviously you can look over their shoulder. You can have them log in, you can sit next to them, and you can ask your student, your child to go ahead and show you what's happening in the day-to-day. Or you can go ahead and complete the final steps to completing your Canvas parent account. And remember, a few minutes ago, I had mentioned we create a Canvas parent account for you automatically based on your active Parent View account. So we'll talk about that in just a minute. I'll show you where to find that information. But if you already have a Canvas account and you're getting information, then that's why you're getting that, because we've already created those for you. Okay, so as far as the Canvas account, and this is just a picture, and I'm going to go ahead and do a live demo in just a few minutes, but pretty much all of our information, how to have an active Parent View account, how to actually get into and accessing your Canvas account, questions you have about your Canvas account, all that information can be found in our district webpage, which we are updating and we're adding more information. Matter of fact, a lot of the questions tonight that we're receiving in the chat and the questions we're receiving on Facebook, and even the questions that we're receiving on that Google form that I showed you a few minutes ago, those are the types of questions that we're going to try to go ahead and collate, and also probably put some of those on that district webpage, and just to kind of update some information. So with that being said, I am going to go ahead and do our live demo. Before I go into the live demo as a parent, I just want to kind of briefly let you know a few things. So first of all, I showed you this link that we'll put back the link in the chat in just a few seconds, but this link allows you to go ahead and come to this form where you can go ahead and fill out information. And so far we've got 14 people who respond. That's awesome. The other thing I want you to know about this is we're also going to give you access to this page, and this is basically our Canvas parent Q&A. We've been working on this for a few days. I have some fantastic colleagues that I work with who've organized it. So all the questions you're asking in the chat, they're doing their best to respond to your questions, but also keep track of that. So toward the evening, don't let me forget, but we'll make sure that all of you have access to these links so that you're able to be at least informed or know the information is that you need to get to. So that being said, sorry, my lips are totally dry as can be. We're gonna get started and go ahead and log in and get moving. So I'm gonna start right here. This is the district webpage. So again, two things. If you have an active parent view account, we've already created your Canvas account for you. If you do not have an active parent view account, then I'm going to show you how to access that information regardless of where you're at. So I'm starting here at the district webpage, and I'm going to go over here to where it says families, and I'm going to scroll down to where it says parent view. And the reason why I'm going to go to parent view is if you do not have an active parent view account, it takes you to this page, and this is where you can go ahead and click activate or request a password change. This is again important because your access as a parent into your child's Canvas account is based on your parent rights or guardian rights that are from Parent View. So again, district webpage. If you click over here where it says families, you can scroll down to where it says Parent View, and that'll specifically take you to this page where you can go ahead and do either log in, if you know it already, you're awesome, or you can go ahead and activate your account, which then will ask you to go ahead and go through some steps to agree to some information. And then it's going to ask you for what's really important, and this is the activation key. I don't have it. Nobody on my team has that information. You are going to have to contact your child's school, and they'll be able to tell you what your activation key is. Once you've set that up, you complete the step with your parent view. It's about 24 hours, and then your Canvas account is connected and created for you automatically. So that's one big step, one big hurdle. For those of you who are out there who are like, Chris, I already got this. What's next? Well, I'm glad you asked. So with that being said, if you already have your active parent view account, again, I'll go back to the webpage. I can go to where it says families. And now instead of going to parent view, I'm going to choose parent apps and resources. And that will take me to this page. And from here, again, parent view is information, school, you see the information that we're offering for parents. But for you, if you are ready to go, like Chris, I need to set up my Canvas account tonight, or when this is finished, where do I go? So right here where it says Canvas information, that's how you're going to go ahead and complete the final step to verify you as a parent or a guardian. If you are ready to log in, you can just click log in. But for now, I'm going to click on where it says Canvas Canvas information, and it takes me to this page. And again, if you came here because you did not finish that step, you're going to scroll down, and it says right here, setting up your Canvas account. And this is where, I'm not going to read it for you, but again, go to the web page. If you already have a parent view account, a Canvas account has been created for you, use these instructions. And when you click on that link, it comes over here to this page. And I'm going to go ahead and just zoom in just for a second. There we go. So it comes to this page. This is the page where the information is. You need to verify who you are, and this is another safety step that we've basically put in place where we want to make sure the parents or the guardians who actually have the rights over their child or those children can actually click and verify. So in this step, it simply says to verify your Canvas account by going to this web page and click Forgot Password. By clicking on Forgot Password, you should receive, or you will be receiving, an email from Canvas saying, hey, go ahead and set up your password, and then you can actually get into Canvas. So again, the website, under families, parent apps, and then when you scroll down, you'll see where it says Canvas, and then it says, what is Canvas? And then it says right here, setting up your account. And it's gonna ask you to follow these instructions. Again, click Forget Password. So you're gonna come to this page, you're gonna go ahead and request a password by typing in your username. In some cases, sometimes, some people use their email as their username. So I don't know what your parent view ID is. It could be a name, Chris99, or it might be your email. But regardless of what you choose, either try a username or an email, and then you'll receive an email back. Okay. I feel like I'm really thirsty. Sorry.
Chris, I just wanted to remind you as you jump back in,
yep.
Carolina wants to make sure we talk about the language setup in Canvas.
Oh, thank you, friend. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so that being said, again, I'm not going to go over the information, but our information is on the website. So now I'm in, and I'm going to go ahead and go to Canvas. I would log in. once I log in, this is where I end up. This is the first screen that you will see when you log into Canvas as a parent. Students, their page is pretty much going to be the same thing, but some students like to tinker or change the way their page looks, so it might look a little different. But for you as a parent, for me as a parent, I'm a parent of three kids here in Beaverton. This is what Canvas looks like for me. And you'll notice that these are basically the Canvas courses that my child's taking. And I can do a few things. I can rearrange these courses in any direction I want. So if you're somebody who really likes alphabetical order, by all means, drag them around and put them in alphabetical order. If you're somebody like me who has 3 children, and you possibly might have 2 or 3 in the middle school or high school, you can rename these however you want. So I can click on these little jelly beans, and I can add a nickname. So this is KK's course, that's her nickname. I'm gonna say KK, and I'm gonna say math. And I can go ahead and get any color I want. So if my one child, Kaylee, is gonna be, her favorite color is purple or red, I'm just gonna say KK math, KK humanities, PE, because now I know all of the courses that I've just labeled. Here I just hit apply. Those are all all the courses for Kaylee. Now, what's awesome is that this doesn't have any effect on your child's or the teacher. Like, what you do as a parent here on this page is totally up to you. You can choose to do something or leave it alone. It does not impact anybody else's view on Canvas. So again, you can click on the little jelly beans, give it a nickname, and you'll notice that the nickname does not change the name of the course. It just gives you like a little indication that, ooh, this course belongs to my one child. And I know that we have parents who have 2 or 3 children, or even 4 or 5 in high school or middle school. So that is reality. And again, you can move things around. So Chris, what if all my courses are not there? I'm a parent. I know they should have more than one course. How come I don't see them? So our first thing is obviously looking at the link, but on the left-hand side where it says dashboard, this is the dashboard to get me to the courses. Just below dashboard, I'll see where it says courses and all courses. And what that allows me to do by going to courses and all courses, it allows me to click and go, oh, look at, these are all the classes my child's taking. And some of them have a star and some do not. And the star effectively just simply means if it's not a star, it won't show up on my dashboard. If I have a star next to it, it shows up on that quick dashboard. So think of a dashboard like the speedometer in your car. It's that speedy, quick way of getting to a Canvas course. So I can unselect everything if I wanted to. And when I hit the dashboard, then you'll notice that, oh my goodness, all my courses, or most of them, are gone or missing. And as a parent, you can choose whatever courses you want to focus on. There's no rule. So again, courses and all courses. And somebody had just mentioned, hey, all my courses are empty. When you log in, click on courses, all courses. If there are no courses, then there are 2 things that could be possibly happening. One is you have a Canvas course that was created 3 years ago when we were first introducing Canvas to parents. And so if that's the case, you can email me. So Jennifer asked a quick question. So Jennifer, Canvas page, and right here where it says contact us. So just between you and I, that's how you can get a hold of me. And then I will look at your account for you. So with that being said, I'll come back to my courses. I'm going to put a star next to the ones that are important. Again, these are the ones that I want to show up quickly. Why are some blue and some not blue? A blue course is a published course. So over here on the right-hand side, it says yes. That simply means this course has been published. So that's my dashboard. So as far as Canvas navigation, it's the dashboard, moving courses around, renaming them if you want to, or simply choosing by going to courses, all courses, and choosing which courses do you want to identify as the ones that show up quickly, okay? The next thing I want to talk about is the communication piece. We'll get into looking at assignments and grades in just a moment, but I want to talk about communication, notification, and language. And those are 3 really important things. So every parent, every teacher, and every student has the same exact space and place to go to, which is effectively clicking on your account. Mine doesn't have a picture. And then I'm going to go to where it says settings. And by going to settings, now I can go ahead and actually make some things personal to me in my Canvas course. Somebody had asked, so you can't click on a star if the course is not published. That is correct, yes. If the course is not published, you can't click on it. And that's a great thing to bring up. Earlier today, we talked about how the reality is not every Canvas course for your son or daughter or your children are going to be published. there's just different reasons. I mean, at this point in time, most are going to be published because of the situation that we're in, but some courses may not. And so my best suggestion to you is communicate with the parent or with the teacher and just say, hey, I've noticed that this course is not published. Just want to find out why. Because by not being published, you as a parent or as a student can't actually enter into the course to see. But I'm just asking you to just, with grace and mercy, go ahead and contact your child's teacher. So counts and settings, and this is what's going to allow me to do a couple things. One, help me identify what kind of language I want Canvas to actually be physically in, and two, help me to understand how to create a way to be communicated with and either increase or decrease those notifications that you're receiving. So Canvas, accounts, settings, and on the right-hand side, it's going to say edit settings. And what you're seeing right now, and I'll blow it up for you. What you're seeing right now is basically, I can go ahead and choose the language that I want to be communicated with. Now, that's the language of Canvas. It's not the language that a teacher is going to write me a question or ask me something. It is not the language that I'm going to see my child's assignments or homework in. This is just simply the system language. So if I chose Spanish or French, it's going to change all of the settings, the information from the actual system of Canvas into that language. So again, you can click on Edit Settings and you can change the language. And in this case, it might be just perfectly happy for you. You might be like, yeah, this is exactly what I needed to do. And so I'll go ahead and hit cancel because I'm not going to change. The other thing I want you to notice is over here, it says ways to contact. You can actually go ahead and add phone numbers and emails however you want. So if you're receiving, and the same rule applies for students as well. If a student wants to be contacted in some other way beyond their school email, or it has a phone, sends a text message every time a teacher completes an assignment for them or gives them something new to do, then a student and parent can also go ahead and put in a different email. You can even put in a phone number. And that effectively simply means now you've got multiple ways of being communicated with. You might even decide, you know what, Chris, this email is not being used. I'm going to go ahead and delete it. And if it's not your primary email, which that's why it has a star next to it, if it's not your primary email or your default email, you can actually edit or change other emails as well. So settings, that allows me to change my language. That allows me to go ahead and add other ways to be contacted through Canvas. That leads me to the really important step, which is this one here, accounts and notifications. And the reason why this is super important is because now you're getting into, oh, wow, I've been receiving a lot of emails from teachers all day long or all week. How do I stop the madness? Or it's been really quiet. How come? Maybe I need to actually change my notifications. So this is simply your notifications. And if you're somebody who uses Facebook or Twitter or Instagram on your mobile device, you can set up notifications for those applications. I can't stand notifications for Instagram or Twitter. I don't care. I just go there when I want to, so I turn them off. But with Canvas, we're talking schoolwork, we're talking assignments and communication. It might be more important to you. So back to settings, I can go ahead and add other contact information if I want to. And then once I've added my contact information, notifications is where I can go ahead and tweak those. And again, notify me right away, send me something that's just daily, weekly, or please, for the love of humanity, stop sending me information. And you can choose. If you scroll over anything and you put your mouse on that and you leave it there, it's going to come up with what that information is. Files, personally, I'm going to put an X next to files. I don't need to be communicated about with files. Grading, oh, that might be really important to you as a parent and probably as a student. So I might go ahead and say, you know what, notify me right away or once a week. And again, you can keep going down the list and you can adjust whatever you want. Because we're in what's considered, what I would consider crisis teaching, this is not the norm. This is not how we operate on a normal educational level, crisis teaching. Because of that, it might be important for you to dial up those notifications or dial them down. I don't know. Our family motto is we're going to choose what's best for our family. And so with your family and the communication that's happening, you can look at the information, talk to your child and say, hey, let's adjust those notifications I say that to you because the reality is when a teacher sends out an announcement, which there's no announcements on this page, an announcement sends some information to you, reminds you of something that's happening. If that teacher and 5 other teachers are sending out announcements every day, eventually that might become noise. So either communicate with the teacher and say, hey, is there any way that you can dial it back? Or you as a parent can go to accounts, notifications, and you know what? I'm going to go ahead and say announcements. I'm dialing it back to maybe just a weekly summary. Okay. Can you please let Caroline address the Spanish speakers? Yes. Thank you so much. I'm going to stop talking. Caroline, our good friend, is online and she is here to address our friends.
Hola a todos, solo quiero decirles que pueden enviar preguntas en español también o en portugués y vamos a intentar contestarlas.
Thank you. I'm so sorry. I totally forgot. I was supposed to do it at the very beginning. Thank you for reminding me. Okay. So that being said, that's my communication, how I set up my notifications, how often I'm being communicated with, and adding my other phone numbers or emails. And again, your child can do the same thing. It doesn't impact you. It just simply impacts what you're doing. So that being said, we've talked about our dashboard, some brief navigation, how to address changing or editing or manipulating these Canvas courses, the tiles, so that I can go ahead and either make them so they're personal for me, or I might have more than one child. And then we talked about courses and dashboard. My favorite question of all times is what I was asked earlier today, which is, Chris, is there one place to go to just find out what is going on for my child? Like, where can my child go to find out what's due, when it's due? Like, do they have to go to every course? Well, I'm glad you asked that question, because the answer is every student can go to basically what's called the Canvas calendar. On the left-hand side, it says calendar. And all of these are the courses. On the right-hand side, I'm gonna zoom in for you. Sorry, too far. 1 second. All of these courses on the right-hand side are the courses that my own daughter is taking. So if I want to have information about this specific course, I have to actually select it so that now that course shows up in the calendar. And I also want you to notice that there's a color. I can, again, label these courses how I want. So if you're, again, a parent of more than one child, you can do that. It does not affect your child at all. So I can not only go ahead and decide what courses I want to see, but the big question is there one place that I can go to, or that my child can go to, that says what's due, when it's due, and how do I find it? And my favorite feature of Canvas is the calendar. Because I don't know about you as adults, but I cannot function without my calendar. Like, I have to know what's going on. I look at the calendar. So when you come to this calendar, you'll notice there's lots of different icons. This is a pencil. And this one over here says BSD test course. It looks like a calendar. So those symbols mean different things. And in this case, a pencil is an assignment, something that's due for that child. So my daughter, Kaylee, it looks like the 24th, which is tomorrow, she has a right reflection to do tomorrow. And that's what's due tomorrow. And the reason why I know that is because it effectively has it on the day that it's due. Okay. And then I also noticed that she had an assignment that she was working on today called Solar Wind, and has a little pencil. That helps me understand that if I want to support my child, then I can at least know now, hey, here's what's going on, here's what's due. And the other thing too I want you to know is that there are different icons. It's Canvas for communication. Oh, it looks like your teacher went ahead and put in a Zoom link. So that's not an assignment. It's just simply information for the child to know. And the difference between the calendar and an announcement is the calendar doesn't tell your child, doesn't ding, doesn't send a notification. It just simply puts it there. So if you have teachers who are really utilizing the calendar by putting dates that are due, information like, for example, for Math 6, this is the teacher's information for the Zoom session. That's good information. It just doesn't send an alert. So I have to kind of help train my child. Maybe go to the calendar is a good idea. Is there a way to know when assignments turned in? Okay, that's great. We'll look about that in a second. But before I go any further from the calendar, I do want to show you one more thing briefly. You can look at it by the week, by the month, but my favorite view is the agenda. My favorite view beyond the month is the agenda. So the reason why I say the agenda is a great view is because now I've taken what effectively looks like a very busy month. There's a lot going on for my 6th grader. And I can click on the calendar and go, okay, it's the same information, but now I can see, oh, tomorrow's the 24th. She has a reflection due tomorrow. And then she can go ahead and scroll down, and she'll see that she has on the 28th, there's some more information down below. So that allows me to help my child and decide what's going on. Oh, it's funny. Canvas is like, it doesn't like scrolling down. That's okay. But I can see all the way to the 28th. Oh, look at, there's an energy transfer, conversion notes. I think it's conservation or conversation notes for her science class. And this is something that she's going to be doing. So again, you can click on the calendar and you can choose to either look at the calendar by month or agenda. And this would be really helpful for your own child as well. Is there a way to know when assignments are turned in by looking at the icons? Unfortunately, when you look at the icons on the calendar date, it doesn't tell you when it's due. However, if I were to go back a few days, and let's go back here to see if I can find one. I'm trying to go back a few days because what Canvas will do on an assignment that's a past due date, it'll actually draw a line past it, meaning like this assignment is finished. It's no longer, it'll actually cross off for that child. I'm going to go back to today's back here. So that's the calendar. I'm going to show you now a little bit more information about the assignments. So let me go into the dashboard. And somebody had asked earlier, like, hey, Chris, how do I know if my child's turned in something? I'm going to show you right now. On the right-hand side, you can see where it says coming up. Do you remember a few minutes ago we said the calendar? Look at view calendar. Boom. Or I can go back to the dashboard. And on the right-hand side, it tells me all the things that are coming up, and I can even look into next week. So I have multiple ways of knowing what's due, when it's due, who's asking me to do it. And then also tells me how I can go ahead and complete it and finalize it. With that being said, I'm going to click in her math course. It's my daughter's. And I'm going to click on assignments. And these are all the assignments that my daughter has either chosen not to do or done. And I can see that there are due dates and there's information. Well, it doesn't tell me a lot. So let me click on grades. And when I click on grades, now I'm going to go ahead and see, oh my goodness, wow. She's actually has a lot of assignments. And it actually shows me quite a bit about when things were due. Oh, look at it. She's got some missing assignments here. You know, this was April 23rd. I asked her to submit on time. So not only can I see when my child has submitted, this would be an example of something that was turned in, this little icon. But down below, I can also notice when things are missing, or, oh, look at that. This is a little icon that tells me, you know what, my teacher, my child's teacher gave her some feedback. And in this case, it's me giving feedback. So that's why it looks a bit strange. But I can see not only if they've gotten a score, I can see that there's feedback. I can see when things are completed. All right. And with that being said, I'll go down here and I can look at information. And, you know, again, I can see when things are missing. So I can go ahead and go to any course I want to. So you can click in any course. I'll just click in. I mean, here she's not going to have anything. And if she won't have anything in this one, but I'll click in it and go to grades. And so when I click on grades, I can immediately see things that my child's doing. But I also want you to see right here, courses and assignments. You can actually change whatever course you want to go look at. So I'm going to go ahead and do this one and hit apply. And now it'll actually instantly take me to see the grades or assignments for those courses. And then you can change it. Maybe I don't want to see by date. Maybe I want to see by different title. And then, like I mentioned earlier, I have 3 students. So Oakley and Kaylee are my 2 older kids. Well, I could actually, if I wanted to, I could flip and change it to Oakley and I could see any of her grades. She's a 4th grader, so she's not going to have anything in Canvas. I use her in my classes that I build out. So the calendar, looking at courses, looking at assignments. And what's really important, I want to pause for just a minute. We talk about grades. And earlier, we talked about the difference between parent view and Canvas. And essentially, the big difference is this. How am my child doing in the course? What's their grade in the course? That's synergy. They have they get an A or they have a certain GPA, that's Canvas. I mean, so that's synergy. But how are they doing on the assignments they turn in? Are they getting feedback from their teacher? That's Canvas. And in this case, the teachers can also give back video feedback. That's me. So day to day, what's happening? When are they doing things? What did you do how did you do on that one assignment? This is where Canvas comes into play. And then that's where, as a teacher and as a parent, sorry, as a student, we can go ahead and see how I did each day. Scores and feedback is what they're looking at. All right. With that being said, I'm going to go back to the dashboard, and I think I'm going to double check on my notes. So give me a second, my friends. I believe I went through everything as far as Canvas, parent view, and how you check. And so I'm going to pause for just a minute and ask to see, is there anybody who has any questions? I know my friends who are online with me, they can unmute themselves and ask a question if they want. But it's 7:42, so I'm going to stop, and we're going to see if we have any questions that we can verbalize out loud. And we might not. I mean, everybody's being mute. So, okay. They'll interrupt me in just a minute. Okay, with that being said, I do want to remind you of a few things that we've built for parents to kind of help with this transition. So not only are we making sure that you get this Google document, which is the document that we're going to provide, and we'll put in the link again, and we'll put it probably on the website. But not only that, but I've also created what's called a Canvas Parent 101 course, which any parent in our school district can go to. So you don't actually even have to have a Canvas account. It's actually an open Canvas account, public to anybody who is in our district. But the whole point is you can come here to the Canvas 101 course, and you can take a few minutes to look and see, well, okay, what does Chris have going on here? Well, all right, he's got some things in videos, so I can watch videos. And then down below, he has other important components. And if you are like, oh, I wish that was in Spanish, if you feel comfortable with technology, you're pretty savvy, you can actually go ahead and use a Google Translator, and you could translate an entire page. So I'm going to translate this whole page to where's Spanish? To Spanish. So that does not translate my videos, because my videos are going to come through in English. Unfortunately, Spanish is not a language that I know very well. Hopefully one day. But it does help me at least translate the page, and so I can see that Chris has written down some questions. I'm not an expert in Spanish, so I can't tell you if this is translated perfectly. I apologize if it's not. But at the very least, you can choose to go ahead and change the page into a different language. And I'm going to go ahead and hit Show Original. So on this Canvas page, you have some short videos to kind of go over if you want to learn about some certain things. But I also want to show you something that all students have. Every single student in the entire school district has access to this Canvas orientation module. And as parents, you do too. And so you can go ahead and hit the next button. And so I've taken a lot of what our students engage in through Canvas. What is the dashboard? What we talked about tonight. I've even talked about the calendar. You as a parent can actually click on this course and just go through it. And again, it's just me speaking in English, so some of it you can translate, but we are going to be working with our translation, with our teams to go ahead and hopefully have some of these in other languages as well. So not only this, the document, make sure you have access to this information, but the Canvas Parent 101 course, which allows any parent to access information without actually having to log in. And then again, if you've been putting questions on our Google form, we're going to do our best to make sure we expose the questions and answers to all of our friends and family back home, or wherever you are. So with that being said, I'll leave this up here for now, and I'm going to go ahead and pause. And is there anybody who has any questions? Team, if you want me to stop talking, tell me. If not, it's actually 7:46, which means we're over, we're finished. I'm going to hit stop recording in just a moment. But if you have a couple more questions you want to throw in there, by all means, go ahead and do so. Yeah, and I want to thank you, parents, for and guardians. Thank you for coming and hanging out with us tonight. This is unprecedented time. We're not used to doing this, and so we're doing our best to make sure that you have the information you can use to help support your children. So with that being said, I'm going to say good evening. Again, you can throw in the last couple questions if you want to in the chat, and then if any of my team wants to hang out for a few minutes, that's awesome. The rest of you have a great night, and I appreciate you being here, and good evening.